Welcome to On Second Thought. I'm John Price, and I'm here with our pastor, Jay Hackett, where every week we take a deeper dive into life at Peachtree Corners Baptist Church. Whether we're talking about the latest sermon, upcoming events, or just whatever's on Jay's mind, this is your insider look at our church, our staff, and what makes PCBC your church on the corner. So join our conversation as we help you find community, purpose, and growth. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to On Second Thought. We are halfway through, almost done with August, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and you may have already noticed we have a new set. We have changed things up a little bit. There was a little confusion on our last set of, are you guys ever going to play that piano? Is this a concert venue?
I tried to, but John was not impressed with my playing skills. Yeah,
we tried to, take out distractions and to have the logo up there, just so you could be sure who's who. You could
That's
tell.
Distracting enough,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
If that weren't distracting enough. Well, how was your weekend?
Weekend was pretty good, actually. Molly Grace is learning to be an only child.
Yeah,
and for the moment, she likes it, and so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But
well, Griffin calls enough and FaceTimes.
Oh, every day.
Do they talk a lot on the phone? Okay,
they do. Yeah, she found out her roommate loves Roblox, and so Molly Grace played for 3 hours the other day with the two of them in college.
For the uninitiated,
Yes.
explain Roblox.
I can't explain Roblox. It is just
it like Minecraft?
It's like a Minecraft kind of a game.
Okay.
Yes, where you can build. So her game that she loves is 99 Nights in the Forest, and so you have to survive 99 nights against these deer and wolves and all these different things, and you have these challenges that you have to do, and so she's made it like 120 something nights.
So that's even harder than 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
All right. If we're slinging out a lot of stuff you have no idea, we don't know about it either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we're just hear our kids talking about it. So this weekend was my mom's 80th birthday.
So you went down.
Yeah, flew down Friday morning, got up real early and flew down there and spent about 36 hours just kind of hanging out with mom and dad. And
did you take them to dinner?
We did.
Nice.
We took them to Bonefish.
Nice.
I don't think we have one around here, do we?
We used to, but I haven't seen one in forever.
It's good stuff.
It really is.
No, we had a good time. My brother and his wife and one of their kids and her husband, and then my brother-in-law and sister were there. So, and one of my brother and sister-in-law's grandkids, little baby Ray, sweet baby Ray. So, no, we had a good time and got back here. Our flight was delayed. We got back around 11:30 Saturday night. So we were.
Yeah. You looked a little like a zombie yesterday.
Yes, I told the greeters in our prayer time that I was my body was waiting for my soul to catch up. So I think after a nap on Sunday, I was a little more like myself.
Yes, so. I'm at that age now where I need a nap every day.
It is very important.
Every day.
Yes,
and it's crazy.
It is practicing Sabbath.
Is that what it is?
It's spiritual growth. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
as discipleship pastor, I highly recommend a nap for your spiritual
first challenge today is get a nap.
Yes.
Get a nap. That's always a beneficial thing, no matter where you are. Just
and part of my kind of self-imposed role of taking care of clutter and stuff around here and rooms that just become throw-alls is reclaiming some of that space, some for life group space, some for, maybe get away and lay down for 15 minutes.
Close your
eyes.
In the
afternoon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can be human.
Great.
And get anything done.
We don't do anything around here, and now we've got a nap room.
Just work on Sunday and Wednesday, but not even that sometimes.
Yeah.
No, but
we've reached the age where God speaks to us in dreams.
Yes.
So
more and more.
We've got to put ourselves before Him to allow Him to speak to us.
Yes.
So I like that.
I think part of our ministerial training is learning. We can spiritualize just about
Yeah, we
anything.
can. Yeah.
I can put a spiritual spin on that. But no, I'm a big fan of naps.
Yes.
All right, well, let's get into something a little more substantive. The Rooted series. This is
Yes.
week 4 of a 5-week.
Yes.
Talking about commitment.
Yeah, and we kind of joke that that's always the hard one, right? Because nobody really wants to commit to anything.
Yeah.
We like to keep our options open.
Yeah.
Because responsibility and accountability follow. And so, it's one of those things where we've got to have the buy-in, right? Because when we're invested in something, we care how it goes.
Yeah.
And so it's when you're on the outskirts, you're like, I've got nothing invested in this. But when you're actually in the mix and you become an owner, it changes the way that you look at things. And, so Sunday we looked at 1 Peter 4 and talked about, just from a different perspective, that it starts with conviction, right? Do we truly believe the end is near? And one of the things I was thinking about was, what if we took 5 to 10 minutes each day this week and thought about eternity? Sometimes we don't have enough margin or pause in our life. We get so wrapped up in the day-to-day and all the things that are happening that we lose the big picture of really why we're here and what our call is. And so, Peter's like, look, the day's coming. And so as it approaches, man, you need to be of sober spirit and mind, and you need to be praying for those that do not know Christ, because heaven is real, hell is hot, and, you don't want anyone to not have an opportunity to hear the gospel. And
Right.
so, just one of the challenges I think for us is to stop, and to take 5 minutes a day and go, I'm going to read John 14. Let me read about this place that Jesus is preparing for us, and let me be comforted in that and kind of go, wow, man, that's awesome. In my house is many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. And so it's like, okay, well, are those rooms going to be empty? Or those rooms going to be filled because I lived out my life the way that God wanted me to live my life out? And
Yeah.
so, taking a few minutes and just kind of go, Lord, I want to focus on you so that I will live out the convictions of my spirit.
Well, I think also we can focus on John 10, which is talking about an abundant life now. And
Yep.
and part of that conviction is, whether the end is near or not. I mean, certainly there were people
Yeah, absolutely.
in the early church and Paul talking about this is imminent. This is close. And then as some of the believers started, dying, they were like, okay, well, what's going on? And they started talking about, well, how we live now as kingdom members is this idea that, our excitement, our fullness of life is not just for our afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
And so that conviction doesn't just stem from, boy, it's really going to be good then, which is certainly an element. I mean, in
Correct.
Revelation,
Correct.
there's encouragement for those being persecuted, but God meant for today, God meant for our now to be so much more full and complete than we experience when we don't walk in faithfulness
Yeah.
or in the Spirit.
Yeah.
He has so much for us, and I think that's important as well.
Mm-hmm.
That the thief wants to steal, kill, and destroy. But I think too, if he can get us only thinking about heaven
Yeah.
and the future, what is that saying? You could be so heavenly minded, you're no earthly good.
Yeah.
I do think that now is just as important.
Oh, absolutely it is. And I think that's, in my mind, we focus on eternity to get us understanding why it's so important now.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's that thought of going, okay, who am I bringing with me?
Right.
Who am I, how is my life reflecting Christ in such a way that others are going, that's different.
Yeah.
They found something
Mhm.
that I've been searching for.
Right.
Right. And that's what we do. We search in so many places for something to bring that joy, that peace, that, and it's like, man, I can't find that. I've looked everywhere.
Yeah.
It's funny. Molly Grace was doing an apologetics thing for Providence this week, and she had to draw something to explain apologetics. And I was like, okay, this will be interesting. Let me see where your mind goes.
Yeah.
And so she went away for about an hour, and she came back to me, and I said, okay, let me see the picture. Let me see what you drew. And she goes, I drew a maze. And I was like, okay. And I was like, all right, explain this maze to me, And she said, look, life is this. She had Christ in the middle of it in a beautiful garden. And then she had this big maze that went all around. And she was like, in a maze, there's only one way for us to get to the center. Everything else is a dead end.
Yeah.
And she goes, this world is going to tell us that you've got all these options. Any one of these ways will get you to the center. But she goes, in reality, there's only one way, and that way is Jesus. And I was like,
pretty smart.
That'll preach.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, as we're thinking through this thing, everybody's, like a rat in a trap, so to speak. We're in a little maze trying to figure it out. And it's our job, once we understand the path, is to go grab other people and go, hey, come on, come check this out. Come see the things that we've been talking about. Just come and see. God's word, God's people transforms lives. So that's why it's important to come and connect, right?
Yeah.
Let me get you around other people that don't have it all figured out, but man, we know where to go and we know where that truth is. And so it's just neat to kind of watch that. And, just the thought of what are we convicted by anymore? Nowadays, more than anything, we're not convicted by things, it's like, that's just culture. That's just normal. That's just life nowadays. And we just got to understand that. We got to deal with it. And so there are things that we should be offended in a good way, looking at scripture and looking at life and go, man, this doesn't add up. But that leads us to the second thing, which we talked about Sunday, which was compassion, right? And so that compassion comes out of a place of going, okay, my heart breaks for you. I'm not angry at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not going to yell you onto the right path.
Right.
My job is to come alongside and go, hey, how do I love you enough to try to show you this is what God's word says. This is what God's truth says, right? I mean, we don't have to be God. He's God. He's the one that can transform a heart, change a life. But it's just those convictions should lead us to a place of compassion for people where we go, man, I really want you to see this. I really do. And I'm praying that God would open your eyes to this. Not that I'm going to argue you into heaven, which I think so many times that's what Christians try to do.
Well, and that's what a lot of times people think apologetics
is. Yeah.
Which apologetics is for the believer.
Yes.
It is having more of a confidence in what we, faith is the evidence. What is it? The evidence or the hope of things not seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that also that word compassion, the word breaks down to mean more like a suffer alongside of.
Correct.
So it's more than just I feel sorry for you or I'm empathetic, but I'm with you in this.
Correct.
And I'm coming alongside you. And I don't remember if last episode, but one of those, when one part suffers, we all suffer. When one part rejoices, we all rejoice. That idea that we're in this together. The things that you grieve over, I grieve over. We can celebrate, and that's the beautiful thing about life groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
body of Christ.
This week we were sharing some stuff in our life group, and just I could just tell that in our group, hearts were broken for each other, and it creates such a community family sense of we care about what's happening with you and we check on each other. How is this going? How is,
Absolutely.
So
you move quickly from judgment to concern. It's almost like, I got to hear your story.
Yeah.
You didn't just wake up one day and decide to head off this path.
Right.
And so let me get to know you.
Yeah.
Let me show you, who I am. Let me hear your story. Let me hear the things that are going on. And when you hear someone's story, it's like,
it changes
wow.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It changes your perspective on it. And it just helps you to kind of go, okay, well, now knowing that, here's what you might be looking for at this moment, or here was an unmet need that ended up presenting itself in this way. And this is not your identity. Right. This doesn't define you, but immediately we want to go, oh, well, let me pigeonhole you into what I think you are.
Right.
And that's where compassion, straight from Christ, because flesh, we're going to just judge and we're going to immediately, kind of push you off rather than go, hold on a second. No. There's a story here. And I want to hear the story and I want to walk with you, and it may take years and years and years of walking alongside of someone for that light to come on and for truth to really penetrate the heart long enough. And compassion is the only thing that's going to allow us to take that journey.
Yeah.
When we don't have that compassion, it's like we just write people off and then we get judged as the hypocritical Christians, the church, and it's not that we are accepting, right? I mean, that's the other side of this thing that everybody goes, oh, you've become so liberal in your thinking because now you just accept everybody where they are and love them and, oh, it's fine. God's going to love you anyway. And that's the conviction is still there, but it's the compassion about how we go about it.
Yeah.
And, I think the more conviction we have, the more compassion we have, then the more willing we are to contribute to what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, man, I got to get in there. I got to get in there and be a part of this and use this. God's gifted me, right? I love the word, it was in the passage Sunday, the multifaceted grace.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like there's so many sides to God's grace.
And you were talking about gifting.
Yes.
But I don't know that I'd made that connection before, that our gifts are a multifaceted. It is the many parts that exhibit His grace.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we need each part.
Yeah.
And it's so vital that everybody, the church doesn't need me. I see they have enough people. They have enough of this. And it's, no. You bring a different piece of God's grace to this whole perspective that is going to help us show every side of who He is.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a beautiful picture of what God is called the church to be. And, and so it's just that thought of going, okay, how can I contribute? Right. And we've got ways you can take spiritual gifts tests.
How can
people contribute? Well, we have the wonderful tests that people can take, and most people go, man, I've taken those, the gift assessment. I've taken this, I've taken that, and I kind of know where my gift mix is.
Sure.
But sometimes it's good to have a refresher on that and just to go, hey, is my gift still the same? Right. I jokingly have talked about mine has changed in the 13 years of being senior pastor because I've had other responsibilities that have come on. And so I've seen areas grow. They're still not the top areas in my life, but they're growing. And I'm like, okay, I'm having to use more of these things than I have in the past. But using those gifts and then just going, hey, where does this fit into the spectrum, if you will? And I know we're already on the spectrum, but that's a whole different.
Yeah. Well, it's more than just taking an assessment for you to know what your gifting is. We encourage people to do it so that we can know.
Absolutely.
Because part of my role with assimilation is to help people take those next steps. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to just fill a spot because of a need. I want to say what according to who you are, your identity, your gifting, what would be something that you could really shine and love to be a part of and really add value to, because it's how you're wired.
Absolutely.
So it does help us. And so whenever somebody takes one of those assessments, I pass that along to the areas where, I think that would be a good fit. So, I mean, obviously, if they say I love being around children, I'll hand that to Mallory, or Susan. And, but, if there are other things, like when I see that someone, their gifting as a teacher, or to me, even more importantly, as a shepherd, because I think that you can be a great teacher, but if you don't have a shepherd part of gifting, you're just spitting out information.
Yeah.
But the thing that we have really built our identity around as a church is that idea of community. Mm-hmm. And so we care about each other. We build family. And in that context, we learn the scripture. We learn the truth. And what we're learning in our men's group on Wednesday nights is that when you're not in joy in joy, which is made by community and relationships, you can't learn. You don't learn in fear. Like leadership principles cannot be transferred in fear. And so joy accelerates all the growth. And so one of the cool things that most of the time when we look at where we've grown the quickest in our spiritual life and our spiritual formation, it is around people that are helping us grow, that are going the same direction. So, yeah, no, I think getting, how people can give and is obviously through giving.
Yeah.
And we, remind people of that at the end of every service. And that is a part of our worship, but also in our time so there's ministries here. We're doing, when I closed out the service yesterday, reminding people about the kitchen team, which is new.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be starting Wednesday night meals, the Wednesday after Labor Day. So next Wednesday. And so we'll be sending out an email to our membership just, probably Monday. So before you even see this, saying, hey, here are some dinner options. Here's the purpose of this. Give us your feedback. And then
we do dino nuggets.
Yeah, anything shaped like a dinosaur is geared towards those the little kids. No, it'll be.
But adults can eat those.
They
too,
certainly
right?
can.
Okay.
No, we're trying to figure out how we can do it first in a sustainable way with people who are already coming.
Yeah,
I know that some people would really like us to return to the thing we did 15, 20 years ago, the big church meal. And, there's a part of me that would like that too, but we have a limited kitchen team at the moment, and we're in a new
time
age.
It's just different.
Yeah. People are much more in a hurry. And so it's one of those things where if they have they go to the drive-through and stuff, they can bring that. That's
Absolutely.
fine. But
it's really that option for fellowship.
Absolutely.
Right? More than anything else.
Yeah.
It's just take 30 minutes
and
hang out with some other people.
Yeah.
And, grab a quick meal, and then we're going to go dive in.
Right.
Whether it's studying a book or whether it's a Bible study or whether it's, just a leadership principle.
Yeah.
Just how do we get some more fellowship time, to hang out, to connect.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a great thing.
Yeah. And I think too, obviously there are those ways that we can commit with the ongoing ministries like that, like student ministry, like, craftsmen, different things. But then there are those events like this next weekend. You're going with the group to Boston.
Correct. There's 12 of us.
Yeah. We got to do that. Was it a year ago?
A year ago, last August. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to go up and meet with Jonathan.
And
so Jonathan, for those of you who know Justin Ely, Jonathan and Justin were roommates at the University of Georgia.
Right.
And so, both are now church planners. And so Justin planted Christ Fellowship about 7 or 8 years ago now. And Jonathan really felt called to go to Boston. And according to statistics, less than 3% of Boston is Bible-believing evangelical Christians.
Right.
And so, it's a major hub. Everyone there's so many universities and hospital systems.
60 universities.
Yes. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And so everybody goes to
Sports,
Boston.
Culture.
To learn. Yes.
Yeah.
And
science.
so Jonathan's like, look, if we can get inside here, share the gospel, these people then as they return home or they go somewhere else to work, take the gospel with them.
Yeah.
And so it's a church of probably 300 that is currently meeting there. They meet in a hotel. And so, but we're going to go up and spend some time with them. And then the big move is on Monday. And so from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m., we will be in different areas around their church in which we will help people either move out of condos or move into their new condos. And
now, you've got some older people. Are they moving stuff or are they handing out bottled water?
Going to be handing out bottled water.
Yeah.
Just, some of it is we're really looking for opportunities, right? In the middle of a move is not the best time to sit down with somebody and go, hey, let me ask you, where are you on your spiritual journey?
Right.
Kind of a mentality. But the main thing is that we're connecting them back to Kings Hill Church.
Right.
They'll have staff members that will be out with us. And so we can have personal connections, We don't see ourselves as saviors that are coming in to do all this stuff. We see ourselves as just, hey, we're here to help this church, and we want to point you back. That's one of the things that I love about the ministry opportunities and the mission partners we have, is that we actually have boots on the ground in each one of the places that we're giving and serving. And so it's not just come in, drop a bomb, and get out. It's, hey, we're here to help build up a ministry that already exists. And, people that are buying into what it looks like to truly lead people to Christ and disciple them.
Yeah.
And so,
well, and from what I understand, typically there's about 350 people from all over the country
correct.
that fly in to help out with this, their biggest event right now.
Absolutely.
That pours into the community, makes relationships. I think it's a great thing. I'm glad
it's going to be awesome
that y'all are going.
And the high is like 70.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
We may start a Peachtree Corners Boston after this if that weather stays,
Well, we were there for what, 2 or 3 days?
Yeah.
And we didn't even get a tip of the iceberg of what Boston has to offer. We got to go and see a ball game.
We did, and we'll be doing that again.
Awesome.
And so it'll be my second trip back to Fenway.
Yeah.
But it'll be a lot of fun doing that. And then we've got a tour of some different things. It's a walking tour. It's about a 2.5-hour walking tour that goes there in Boston. And, there again, tip of the iceberg of the different things that you can see. I'm
run
just
the Boston
hoping,
Marathon while you're there?
No, I'm going to go up and see Rocky on top of the stairs. But that's
that was the running joke last trip.
That was the running joke last week.
And it was met with confused
Sometimes people
stares.
don't know how to take me, John. I know you find that hard to believe, but I never saw the Rocky stairs. That's all I wanted to see while we were in Boston. And,
that's going to be Rocky 7.
Yeah,
in Boston.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Well, that'll be a good trip.
That'll be a great trip.
I look forward to hearing you share about it. Maybe we'll get Wallace here.
Yeah.
To talk about it as well.
Talk about it. Follow up. I think it'd be awesome. Do we have to add his picture?
What we can do is like a flannel graph.
Yes.
And then just each week, if we have a guest person, we can
put them up there with us.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I like it.
Cutting edge.
They'd be smaller.
It's kind of been long enough to where people don't know about flannel graph.
That's true.
And it might,
Yeah. I love it when people tell the stories of Bible stories you never saw on the flannel graph. There's some stories in there that it's like, they didn't flannel graph that one.
Yes.
I guarantee you that growing up. We digress, so let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Right, yeah. Anything else you want to cover?
I think we're good.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know if we're good, but we're done. But I want to thank you for being a part of this episode. Got a lot going on here. I hope that you are participating in all that's going on. We've got plenty of Bible studies, plenty of ministries, ways to commit and be a part of what is happening here on the corner. But thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for being a part of PCBC, and we hope you have a wonderful day. God bless. Well, that's it for this episode of On Second Thought. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend. If you have a question or thought, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to find out more about your church on the corner, check us out at pcbchurch.org. We'll be back next week with more. So until then, have a great week and God bless.